that could easily turn into an argument if the tone in our house is, criticism and defensiveness. And
But
not that
also text your wife and ask her if she needs anything at the store.
if she texts me back, that's fine, right? Because
Hmm.
otherwise I'll forget it, right? She'll tell me, oh, don't forget this. But then I get home and I'm like, I got all of this, but I didn't get your cream for your coffee in the morning. But see, then I have extra responsibility. Now I can fail her, but I guess I fail her if I don't text. Look, I don't need the criticism when we're doing our show. I get enough. No.
I don't. I was excited about this today, just thinking about the Four Horsemen and what do I know about the Four Horsemen academically, professionally, and like how do I use that in real life and how do those cross over? I was thinking about that. And
Hmm.
so I was thinking about what are my go-tos? Because, conflict, 30 years married, conflict, it's going to be something. And there's going to be
Always.
those like perpetual things that we fight about. So have we figured out how to fight fair? Have we figured out how to fight well? But I think every once in a while there's still those things that come up. Probably defensiveness for me.
I think one of the keys for me in my marriage is when realizing when not to fight. When like, it's like, all right, this discussion isn't going to get us anywhere close to where we want to be. So why are we continuing it? How to peacefully disengage without avoiding.
Hmm.
That I would say is one of the big things. Well, the other thing is like trying to keep it to one topic, right? I mean, I'm like, are we talking about the dishes or the fact that I was late? Which one? I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. And my wife doesn't like it when I take out my little notepad and I go, all right, so we're going to add that to the agenda,
Hmm.
right? Because I'm ADD, so I'll follow wherever it goes, but I'm like, I don't know that we're going to actually resolve anything by doing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I think too, like being a therapist makes it a little bit more difficult because then that gets used against us, right?
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, it makes it more difficult for my wife.
Well, it makes it difficult for them, sure, but it makes it difficult for us too because it's like, oh, you're just being a therapist. I'm like, no, I'm just trying to use like better communication skills and tools.
What are you in my living room? Right? I mean, that's like, wait, this is just good conversation skills. Now I'm being a therapist. It's like,
Yeah,
how do I not be a therapist and so I should use bad communication skills. That would
right.
make me,
Exactly. So yeah, I
right.
agree. It's hard for them because we do have better skills and tools and a better vocabulary, right? And it's not great for us to weaponize it. I agree. But sometimes then it gets then thrown back like, oh, well, you're just a therapist now, so you just know everything, right? It's like, don't think I
Again,
said that.
yeah. Well, I get the other thing too, where it's, like I don't have good communication skills. I'm like, I think I do. I think I do. I talk to strangers all day, but I realize there's filters between us, right? Meaning that I don't hear you clearly because of our history, and you don't hear me clearly.
That's a nice word, filters. I just call it baggage.
Okay.
I call it lots and lots of baggage between us.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. Well, and as much as we think we know each other, I think sometimes we hear things that aren't being said because we know each other so well.
Right. Yep.
So we just have those same arguments over and over, and it can be really frustrating. I mean, it's
How
like,
do you
well,
stop the perpetual ones? Like you mentioned that you will say like this isn't being productive, so I'm gonna end it or something like that. Does that
yeah,
work? Are you able to do that and walk away?
me? Yeah, heck yeah. I mean, really, I mean, yeah, it's not hard for me to disengage. I
Hmm.
mean, now if I say I'm going to go for a drive and she's on the hood of the car, as I back down the driveway, I know I didn't do it well, right? So I think it is necessary if you're going to avoid, you're just leaving the conversation. How come we never solve it? You just walk out of every conversation because you say,
Right.
I don't think this is going to get us right. I mean, you kind of do have to have an agreement ahead of time that we can put this conversation on pause. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a necessity. If you both don't agree, then it
Mhm.
is one person just walking out of the room and avoiding the conflict every time. So
That's true, and also like you have to have a time to come back. Like if you just say I'm walking off, like and if it gets too much, if it's elevated too high, I'm leaving. That's not helpful because then the other person is more angry when you get back because they don't know when you're going to get back and if you're going to get back. So I've learned that like one of the probably the best tools that we can do is say like, okay, I'm walking away, but I'll come back to this in a half hour
okay,
or I'll
yeah.
come back to this tomorrow or whatever I need, like whatever is required, but it's like giving it a time frame Because if it doesn't, then we just push it under the rug and push it under the rug until both of us are tripping all over it.
Right. It ends up being avoidance rather than de-escalation in order to
Right.
be able to solve it. The outcome of an argument is dictated by the first 3 minutes of the conversation. So if it gets escalated, it never, I don't know how it is at your house, but at my house, nobody ever, 10 minutes into an argument when we're yelling at each other, nobody ever goes, wait, what'd you say? Oh yeah, that's a good point. Never mind. You know what? You're so right. Yeah. I was watching a clip the other day where a guy comes, road rage, right? What happened in the middle of it was he said, get in your car. And he goes, I am in my car. He said, no, you're not. And he goes, oh, you're right. I should get back in my car. I mean, it was like the flip of a switch that I had never seen before because we just get yelling. We stop listening, right? When the yelling starts, listening stops.
Absolutely. I've seen that a couple times with clients who were really angry. I was working in an agency, so they were mandated to be there, right? Like they had to be there.
That's always
Um,
fun.
and so they would sometimes call and get really, really angry, and they would kind of take it out on me because I was the one answering the phone or whatever. And it was kind of like going, 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 and like, and you're not listening, and you're not, whatever it was. And I was like, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Yes. And then it like just it trips them up, and they
It
stop
does.
because I'm like, I am really struggling to hear you because, you're yelling and it's kind of triggering me and maybe we should come back to this later. And then all of a sudden they don't know what to do with that because they wanted someone to throw it back at them. I don't know if this word picture makes sense for you, but it seems to make sense when we talk about it in session. Being a wall or being a net. If someone throws a ball at you and you're a wall and you have a wall and then it bounces back at you, so now it's a game. It's becoming a hostile, terrible, awful game. But that's what it is. But if you're a net and you just grab it and you just drop it, if the ball just drops and you're like, I'm not going to play that part, then it's really a lot more difficult because now the other person has to come back. They have to pick the ball up. They have to take their spot again. They have to throw it. And then if you just let it drop, you can take responsibility for that part to not let it escalate. But I kind of like that word picture of,
Yeah. I have a similar one. I call it playing handball against the curtain.
okay, yeah,
Right. So
very
it's like,
similar. Yeah.
yeah. And I call it being Teflon too. Right. It's like, it's not sticking to me, right? You can say all that, but I'm not going to push it back. And that's what you're doing when you're taking those calls, where people are angry. You're like, oh, wow. It's because as soon as you start to understand
Hmm.
somebody, they're like, wait, they're listening, right? Because that's the thing that we stop doing when we start arguing. We stop listening.
Right.
We start trying to win.
Yeah. That reminds me of another tool that I like, Q-tip. Just Q-tip it, right? Quit taking it personal.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
Q-tip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a fun one because it's like, yeah, you're taking that personally again, right? The other person is they're elevated, maybe they're hungry, lonely, maybe they're a whole bunch of things,
Mhm.
right? But you immediately took it personally, so just Q-tip it.
Yeah. So there's solvable and perpetual. Like, like what, like if you were to qualify or someone was asking you, like, okay, what is it that, what's the difference between a solvable and perpetual fight? Like, how would you go about describing that? Like, what are the solvable? Like,
Hmm.
how do you describe that to clients?
Normally, it's not a whole thing. It's like they bring it into the room, and so we can just figure it out. Like we figure out, like, okay, that's something we can solve. That's something we do have responsibility over. So I kind of ask questions like, is this something that can change? Is it something that's going to change? Because when we're talking about the really big things, right, like
Hmm.
personality differences, when we're talking about values, and there's a
Hmm.
conflict in values, right? I want to have a vacation where I'm sitting on the beach drinking margaritas, and you want to be hiking and exploring and discovering. That's not necessarily solvable. But what we can do is understand each other enough to go, well, let's spend one day on the beach for me, and let's spend one day hiking in the mountains for you. We can turn some of those things into solvable if we have awareness of them. And I think a lot of times, at least in my marriage, it's like I was unaware, and both of us were. Both of us were unaware of what that looked like. If I'm a huge introvert and he's a huge extrovert, right, we're gonna not be able to appreciate each other. I'm going to think he's leaving me to go play with his friends all the time, and I'm going to feel lonely and jealous. And if, I want him to be at home with me, he's going to feel differently about it because I'm an introvert and I need that time for closeness. And I think understanding those things can help us figure out, is this a perpetual thing or is this something that we can solve? That's kind of how I look at it with my clients in session.
I'm thinking like, the stuff of day-to-day life is the big thing. Like who's going to pick up the kids? Are we on time? Are we not on time? Whose responsibility is what? These are things that we can negotiate and solve.
The day-to-day
Whereas, yeah,
stuff.
like, yes, yeah, right, exactly. And like, perpetual problems are personality styles. On the Myers-Briggs, my wife and I are complete opposites. You can't
Me
be
too.
more
Us too.
different. Yeah. And it works, right? 30 years for you, 34 for
30
me.
years. INTJ, ESFP. He's an ESFP.
Okay. What am I? I'm a I.
INTP.
Yeah. Yeah. So, when my wife has a big emotion and then she makes a quick decision, it scares me, right? Because I always think of like quick decision makers. For them, an unmade decision creates anxiety. And for me as a processor, she would say procrastinator, as a processor, a quickly made decision creates anxiety for me. So
Hmm.
we're at odds with each other, right? I mean, that would be a perpetual ongoing conflict. Now, unfortunately for me, you can't just go, well, that's me, take it or leave it. That's who you married, right? So I do have to, especially on kind of the putting things off things,
Hmm.
because I'm like, well, let's wait until, we could have more information and there's no rush, right? I mean, I know taxes are due on the 15th, but it's only the 14th. So, we got a whole like 36 hours, right? And she's starting to freak out, right? Because she's like,
That
well, it's
makes
not
my
going to be
heart
done.
race. I'm a J. Like,
Right.
we should have been doing this back in February, getting it done, organizing it, getting it off the desk, right? As it were. Like, I don't like things on my desk. As
Yeah.
soon as they come in, I get them done, get them out there. I'm a TJ, so I'm always like thinking, and then I'm just, okay, let's go. Let's make the decision. Let's go. And so, yeah, my husband is the same way. He's like, well, let's think about it. Maybe another car will pop up tomorrow, and it'll have less miles, or it'll be a different color. And I'm like, no, here's the budget. Here's what we need. Let's just do it, get it done. And I'm making that quick decision. I just want to get it out of the way and get it done, get it off the table. We need a new car, right? That's just how it is. And he's just like, well, but what about? And that goes back to his FP also, right? Because he is looking at the tribe. He's looking at what feels good. He's looking at values. And I'm just looking at budget bottom line, right? I remember when the kids were little, we have three boys and two of them were twins and one of them was three. So we had three car seats and we couldn't fit them in the car anymore. We had to get something bigger. And so I just thought, let's just get something bigger. Let's go. I didn't want a minivan ever, ever. But it seemed like the most reasonable thing to do. So I just said, the minivan seems like the most reasonable. Let's just get it. Let's just get it done. And he's like, well, no, but we could have an SUV and they could take their friends when they get older and, we could go camping. And he's thinking about values. He's thinking about the tribe. He's thinking about all these really big ideas and things. And I'm just thinking, here's how much I want to spend. Here's how much I want to spend on gas because an
Yeah.
SUV is
Right.
going to be ridiculous. And I'm thinking about all these things that are my values, and his values were different. And so there was just like that conflict. And so I guess in some ways, yeah, perpetual conflict, but awareness kind of helps to figure out like where's the perpetual part and where's the part that we can negotiate and compromise on.
So if you have the introvert and an extrovert, how do you help couples arrive at like, well, do we go out or not? Right. It's Friday, end of the week.
Hmm.
The extrovert's like, great, party, hit the town.
Yes.
And the other one's like, I've just had enough of people this week. I won't be good
Hmm.
in public. How do you suggest that? Because that's a difference in personality styles. And if you leave it to one, you're never going to go out on Friday. And if you leave it
Right.
to the other, they're always going to go out on Friday and nobody's
Yeah.
going to be happy.
Yeah. Well, you're opposite too, right? With your wife?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It literally happened this past weekend. There's a
What did you do?
neighborhood thing where
Yeah.
they have, we meet in everybody's driveway. Everybody brings a drink and we stand around for an hour and talk with your neighbors. And my
Yeah.
wife's like, do you want to go to the driveway thing? I'm like, you're asking me if I want to go? Okay. The answer is no, I don't want to go. That's very clean for me.
Mm. Yeah.
But I had to read her too, because I know she's social, right?
Right.
So I'm like, but if it matters to you, like if it's really important, tell me it's really important, and I'll put on my people face again, and I'll go.
Yeah.
But if you're asking me, what do I want? And maybe that's the key, right? Being able to, dare I say, have an adult to adult relationship where you can say exactly what you want and not have to consider the other person too much, right? Like if it's just
Yeah.
me, this is what I want.
Hmm.
Now that doesn't mean we're going to land just because I'm clear
Right.
about what I want, but I
Yeah.
think you both have to be clear about what you want.
You have to be clear about what you want, and then you have to communicate it in a way that's honoring to the self and to the other. To be able to say, I don't want to go, but if it's important to you, we can. Or I really just can't right now. I really need a half hour of staring at the wall and just letting my week process. So
Yeah.
like, is there anything that we could do maybe tomorrow that helps you with like getting out and doing something fun? Is it okay if we do it tomorrow? Being able to say what you need. Because it's
Hmm.
always okay to say what you feel and what you need. Always. You just have to do it in a way that can help explain to yourself and the other.
I was thinking, for a period of time in my journey as a therapist, I'm like, you know what? I think I'm a communications therapist, right? Because like what you're saying is, it's like it is how you say it. I mean, it is how you present it. And being a T and not a high on the feeling side, I can take my emotion out of it and I can say it cleanly. I don't know that I say it as clean as I think I do, right? Because I think I'm
Yeah,
getting the words right, right? But
right.
what's my face doing? What's my voice doing, right?
What's
What's
your
my body?
tone? Tone.
My
It's always
tone,
about tone.
always about tone. It's tone over everything else.
Sure.
So I think I'm saying it cleanly, but it is how we say things and making space for those J's too, from my perspective, right? Like my wife is quick to say things, right? And I'm slow to say things. We always step on the toes of the people who are closest to us because they're close to us. So we
Hmm.
are going to step on each other's toes.
Sure.
And so how do I not react and make it, a bigger deal than it needs to be?
Hmm.
For me, I just go, all right, she's a high feeler, quick concluder. So I got to like, all right, just slow down because it's making me nervous that we're getting this decision so fast. She's made the conclusion intellectually, but we haven't taken action on it.
Hmm.
So there's still room in there. And I got to avoid my immediate response, like, why don't you wait for my opinion? What apparently my opinion doesn't matter. So you just made the decision.
Yeah. Oh, that's tough because my husband's the P, and so I'm having to do the struggle time thing, right? Like I
Hmm.
want to make a quick decision. I just want to get it done. I make it fast, but then I have to learn that he doesn't think that way. He doesn't process information that way. So I have to sit in struggle time. I have to go back and say, okay, if you need to look at cars for another 3 days and you just want to scroll on, Auto Trader or whatever, and you're just going to go and go and go, like I'm gonna have to just be okay with that. I have to figure it out. I have to be able to sit with it and go, that's not what I want to do, but I understand that's what you want to do. And honestly, going back to that car thing, like, did we get a better car because we waited? Probably. We probably got one that had brand new tires on it, had a couple less miles on it. Um, it was probably a better deal. So, I can look at that and do that, but it doesn't change it for me. It doesn't change my J-ness of like just judging quickly and making a decision. I still do it. And it does benefit me in a lot of ways. So I
Would it
think,
help you if he said, all right, give me 72 hours. Give me these 3 days. By the end of 3 days, I'll have my recommendation, or
oh,
are you just fine waiting?
I would have loved a deadline. I would have
Okay.
loved 72 hours. It was just like, let's just keep looking. Let's just keep our options open. I think the guy sometimes wouldn't make a decision if he didn't have to ever.
Yeah.
Just keep all the options open. Let's just see what it does, so what happens. And like, but then we don't get anything done ever.
Right. Right. Because there's always another car for sale. Right.
Right. Yeah. So at some point, it's like, I would have loved that. Like, oh, could I have 72? But we didn't know our personalities back then, right?
Yeah.
30 years of marriage, we've spent a lot of time fighting about things just because we didn't understand each other or ourselves. And we hadn't processed our trauma from childhood. We hadn't done any of those things. We were just
I think
surviving.
I think you just touched on a piece that's really important, which is knowing yourself. Right.
Hmm.
It's like, I know that this makes me anxious. I know that whatever, maybe from the past, if she says these word combinations, I'm like, okay, that's a button, right? I
Yeah.
didn't know I had that button anymore, but you just pressed it. And so instead of hopefully, right, reacting in the moment
Hmm.
to what's going on and acting like it's all her, I'm able to kind of maybe take a step back and go, all right, that's me. That's me. That one's me. that's she
That's
didn't
on
mean to
me.
press that button, but right, but which I guess maybe then I need to take a break if I'm getting too escalated and tell her when
Uh,
I'm coming back. I think the Gottmans recommend, I think they're idealistic, somewhere between 20 minutes, which I'm
yes.
like, if you do it perfectly, you could probably come back in 20 minutes.
If you know
But
all the tools to like counting 10 fruit and the 478, deep breathing and progressive muscle relaxation, and you have all the tools, right? Maybe 20 minutes, but like
yeah,
that's not going to work for me. I'm going to need
no,
an hour to cool down.
yeah, yeah. They say between 20 minutes and 24 hours, right? Most people, when you walk away, I'm thinking about my winning arguments, right? Well, if she says this, I'll say that. And oh, I got her on this one, right? So that's not de-escalation. That's
No.
just like preparing for round two. And as soon as I hear that bell, I'm coming out because I got the winning jab.
We don't want to be a doormat, and we don't want to be just always kind of acquiescing our power, and letting the other person win every time. But we do need to pick our battles. We need to figure out like where is this important and when is it not important? When is it okay to say, you know what, they didn't really get the facts right on that, and I think they're escalated, I'm escalated, and being able to kind of let it go or kind of detach a little bit in love. And like I like detachment a lot, but I think detaching in love is really important. Something been really important for me because I don't have to attach my emotions to his emotions all the time. He can have his emotions and he can have his perspective and he can have all those things. And I can walk in my integrity and realize like, you know what? This is, a draw and we're going to have to come back to this some other time and just be okay with it, right? Not being able to hold on to it and getting to that place where I get to like, well, yeah, but he didn't say it this way, right? And then he's saying it this and that didn't happen. It didn't happen that way. I didn't do that. My tone wasn't bad. Like I was really trying with my tone that time. So that's not my fault. Or whatever it is, I'm thinking that now I'm just so much more attached to the conflict and I want to be calm. I want peace.
I think that's what we're all aiming for, right? The calm. I mean,
Mhm.
we're talking about the storm, but we're all just trying to get to the calm, and there's a million ways to do it. Avoidance
Yeah,
is one, right?
right. Yeah. Detachment for me has been a huge part of just letting go, letting him have his feelings.
So I would think that one of the main things that would come up that I see in sessions, right? We do a little bit, have done a little bit of the same work, right? And the thing I say is like when I meet with a couple who's in the midst of divorce, right? I meet with them individually first, and invariably, maybe 80% of the time, she'll come in and say he's a narcissist, right? Like, oh, okay, he's
Definitely.
a narcissist, right? And then he comes in and he says she's bipolar. Right. And I'm like, tell me about her bipolar, right? Because it's not bipolar. It's like, well, one minute she's happy and the next minute she's mad. I'm like, almost sounds human rather than bipolar, but I get it. I get what you're saying. At which to me goes to like the personality styles, right? Because nobody likes this word, but um high sensitivity to negative emotion is neuroticism, right? Lower on the emotional stability side and higher
Mhm.
on the neuroticism reactivity,
Yeah.
right? So I think that's where couples have a lot of a hard time too, right? It's like, oh wow, they have really big emotions and maybe they say things that they shouldn't, or that they don't mean, or that they don't want to have to follow through for, or that they only think a little bit, but they don't really, it's not 100%, right? But in the midst of this high emotional reactivity, we say and do things that I don't know, maybe aren't building towards resolution is a nice way to say it, but are
Yeah.
perpetuating the conflict. So how do you not just get sucked in when someone is demonstrating that high negative emotion reactivity?
Well, just last night with my clients in group, and I have a group on Monday night and Tuesday night, both with 6 people in there with high conflict co-parenting. They're in court all the time and they're really struggling to co-parent. And we spent a whole night just on taking responsibility for your side of the street, right? Because it's super easy to have an external locus of control. We have the location of control is somewhere besides me. It's the judge, it's the minors counsel, it's the other lawyer, it's the neighbor, it's the mother-in-law, it's whoever else, it's always someone else. And if that's the case, then it's not just about responsibility for responsibility's sake, because taking responsibility is all about finding your personal power, because our power is only in the moment. It's only in us. We can only do what we can do. We can only clean our side of the street up. And so when we're really focused on the narcissist, co-parent, or the narcissist spouse, or the bipolar, if we're focusing on that, I don't do that in session normally, because I can't fix anybody or even help anybody that's not in the room. Like, I can't do anything. I don't feel like I fix people, but I can't do anything with someone who's not even in the room. So it's like, how do we get you to take the responsibility for your part? Like, even if you have to go to, what's your 1% of the conflict? What's your 1% of responsibility? If we have to start there, let's start there. What's one thing that you can do? Because a lot of times when we're in that place of getting divorced and newly divorced, or in that high conflict space, we can't see it because it's trauma, right? There's this trauma around it, and there's self-protection and self-preservation. And so we come in and we're just like, no, it is not my fault. It is all their fault. But then what can we do? In session, what can you do with someone who doesn't have any responsibility at all? They're completely and totally only a victim. What do you do with that?
Yeah, you start with finding their responsibility, right? I mean,
Their part.
I think that I will get the book right someday. Maybe I'll ask AI, but I think it's a T.S. Eliot book, who was writing about, it's a fictional character, and the character's lying on their psychiatrist's couch, staring up the ceiling as they do. And
Yeah.
she wonders aloud, she says, I hope everything that's gone wrong in my life is my fault.
Yeah.
Psychiatrist is a little like taken back. So I don't usually hear that. Why would you say that? And she
Yeah.
says, well, if everything that's going wrong in my life is my fault, then there's something I can do about it. But if it's everybody else's fault, I'm stuck. I can't
I
change the
just used that
situation.
exact example last night. I must have gotten it from you. I must have gotten it from you when we worked together. But I love that idea, because I spent a lot of time in my younger married years in victim posture. And victim posture is heavy. If everything is his fault, there's nothing I can do to clean the house more, to make more money, to have better peace or calmness, because if it's all his fault, there's nothing I can do. I can't drag a, 200-pound human to do what I want them to do. I have to just say, like, what am I responsible for here? What can I do? Even if it starts out, what's my 1%? And then we can build on that, because then we're building power. That's what I want for my clients. I want them to have personal power. And so if it looks a little bit challenging, like, hey, take some responsibility, then that's where we have to go. But man, what a lightness, and what a freedom to be able to say, like, okay, here are the things that I can do, and I'm not going to worry about my bipolar or my narcissist person, who might or might not be diagnosed, right? It's just the idea of it. Well, I think in the end, therapy is really about freedom. Right?
I hope so. Freedom is play, right? Which is the opposite of tyranny, right? I don't know if you were around in the center, if we were working together at the time, but I remember it like hit me like a brick. I came up with what I think is the most brilliant relationship solver ever. And I conceptualized it, and I was bouncing it off all the other therapists. And I said, the way to have a happy relationship is never believe you can change someone else's thoughts or behaviors. And, I checked it with all the therapists, and very smart people. They're like, that's great, Courtney. You're brilliant. That's amazing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
cool. And I go home, right? And I say, hey, honey, I figured it out. The way to have a happy relationship is never believe you can change someone else's thoughts or behaviors. She says, yeah, that's right. You are brilliant, Courtney. Now I need you to change this and more of this and less of that. I'm like, no, no, no. You don't hear me. Right? Let me say it again slower. The way you have a happy relationship, never believe you can change someone else's thoughts or behaviors. She's like, more of this, less of that, more of that. I'm like, but then it hit me, right? I'm the one who's breaking the rule. I'm trying to stop her from trying to change me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what choice do I have but to allow her to try to change me?
Mm-hmm.
And then, as luck would have it, I change what I think I want to change and is important
Mm-hmm.
anyway, which is what I'm doing anyway, right? Because I'm
Yeah.
not going to do the things I don't want to do. I might sacrifice some of what I want for the relationship. So it's not just permission to be an a-hole,
Right.
right? It's like, well, you want that. You want to change me. No, I have to hear her,
Mm-hmm.
right? I love her. I want the relationship to go well. So, but I'm changing it because I'm listening, not because she's making me change anything, because she can't make me change anything.
Right.
if she has that power, I want to hire her, and you and I will have the most successful counseling practice ever. Bring in your partner. We can change them.
We can change them. Yeah. We can fix people and we can change them. Let's do it.
Right. Even if they aren't here, I'll teach you how to change everybody else so that the
Right.
world works for you.
Yeah. It makes so much sense. When you were talking, I was thinking, in my mind, it goes to the idea of like no expectations, no disappointments. If you can, if you can reduce how many expectations you have of other people, right? The shoulds, like they should be polite. Those people shouldn't be speeding. Those people should be getting to the right speed on the on-ramp, right? All the shoulds, those things make us have disappointment, and then that leads to frustration and anger and all the rest. But the idea of no expectations, so not changing other people's behavior or attitudes, but then, you know, having expectations of what they're going to do or how they're going to respond or react to us.
Boy, that's tough. Even just like, you've been married 30 years. Right? It's like expectations could be as you described, or it can be like, I'm just trying to predict, I expect my husband will want hamburgers over sushi. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's ways that have to apply those, and to have no expectations sounds like you're almost like adrift, right? Like how do you not have goals, aims, desires for your relationship? Or how do you have them if you don't have expectations?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point, and you have to pay attention to what that means because if you're if you have expectations, I would say those are plans. If you know your husband likes or a spouse likes sushi or hamburgers, that's just making a plan and taking and going that way. But I think the expectation is, hey, when they come home, hopefully they notice how clean I made the kitchen and how delicious the hamburger is. That's the expectation. The expectation is like they better behave in a way that makes me feel good about myself, that gives me the kind of, affirmation and the atta girl that I want. Those are the expectations I'm talking about. The things that if he comes home and he has a really bad day at work or he's really tired, should I expect him to treat me in a certain way in that moment? Is it okay in a long-term relationship if he misses how much I cleaned all of the counters? Like I scrubbed them down really well, and even I got the stove, that was a little bit greasy and splattery. Like I even cleaned that. But if I'm thinking like, man, he better notice all these things, then, well, first, I'm not taking responsibility for me. I'm a grown-ass woman. It's my kitchen. I should just clean it because it needs to be cleaned. But if I'm doing it because I expect him to affirm me or whatever, then we're going to have disappointment. And I guess that's kind of what I'm talking about. Does that make more sense?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember one time I mowed the front lawn, and I came in and I said, "Honey, tell me how good the lawn looks." And she says, "I haven't had a chance to look at it yet." I'm like, "I don't care. Just tell me it looks great." Right? Because I know I just need that. Right? I mean, what does she know from the lawn looking great versus when I don't do a good job? Right? But I just know that I need that, so I just ask for it. Right? It's like, all right, tell me how wonderful I am.
Tell me I'm
Right?
pretty.
Yes, right, exactly. Right. So you're pretty, by the way. There you go.
Oh, thanks.
Now that, yeah, sure. So we're going to cover, like the danger signs, but then we'll also get to how to resolve some of these things. According to the Gottmans, what are the things that we really have to work or worry about or explore or watch out for in our relationship that we know that we're kind of getting off base? Let's say it's a perpetual or it's a solvable conflict, right? It doesn't really matter in this situation. What are the things that they warn about in their research?
Ooh, the Four Horsemen.
Dun da da. Yes. So criticism, defensiveness, stonewalling, and contempt.
Yep, those are them.
So with criticism and defensiveness, the way I describe it, because we're always going to have, let's say, critiques, right? Because we want certain things in relationship. I want my partner to act or behave or acknowledge me in certain ways, right? So I can say, gosh, you didn't do this, right? So I can criticize their behavior. I mean, I guess maybe a flip would be, here's what I would like next time, or here's what I'd need this time.
Mm-hmm.
But the way I think of criticism and defensiveness is it's a spirit in the house, right? So let's say I drive home from work and I've got, on the way home, I stop at the grocery store. I got a bag of groceries on my arm and I walk in and my wife says, "You went to the store on the way home?" I say, "Yeah, what? I just needed a couple quick things. I didn't know if you wanted anything." And so I didn't even, my phone was out of power and I didn't know if I should call you. And she's like, "I was just wondering what you got." Like, right. So I was feeling criticized or defensive, both, but she wasn't criticizing me.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that could easily turn into an argument if the tone in our house is, criticism and defensiveness. And not
But
that,
also, text your wife and ask her if she needs anything at the store.
yeah, but then I got to remember it. If she texts me back, that's fine, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
otherwise I'll forget it, right? She'll tell me, oh, don't forget this. But then I get home and I'm like, I got all of this, but I didn't get your cream for your coffee in the morning. She's like, you would have remembered if it was for you. I'm like, well, yeah, because it's
Mm-hmm.
me, right?
Yeah.
But see, then I have extra responsibility. Now I can fail her, but I guess I fail her if I don't text. Look, I don't need the criticism when we're doing our show. I get enough. No. So those are, I mean, I don't know how you help folks navigate or notice the criticism defensiveness, if it's any different than what I do, but
I've like, and it's all about tone and it's all about baggage and history. You've got 30 years, or you got 34 years, I've got 30 years. It comes up, right? Because in the past it has been where it was thoughtless, careless, reckless, like we've been mean to
Mhm.
each other. Maybe it's just me and my marriage, but we've both been mean to each other.
Yeah,
And
guilty.
so, if I were to walk in like that and he were to say that, I would immediately go to defensive. Like, yeah, I didn't get you anything, even ask. Or I would feel criticized that, I did that. So I can't think of the example right now, but there was not long ago where something happened like that. And I'm like, well, what? And he goes, whoa. And I could see it on his face that I totally misinterpreted what he said. And
Yeah,
so I
right.
could just see it in his whole body language, right? I was like, oh, I totally missed that. So I thought I thought you were criticizing me, but he wasn't. And I
Hmm.
had to take a step back and go, okay, that's on me. That's my responsibility.
So you didn't hold on to being right about your interpretation. You're like, maybe I'm not seeing this clearly.
Yeah, well, because I noticed it. It was so, because I was just like, yeah, but what's your problem about it? Like I leaned into it because it felt critical.
Right. Yeah, you got a problem with me?
Yeah.
You want to take it outside?
Right.
So then there's the criticism, defensiveness, stonewalling, and contempt.
Stonewalling is an interesting one because the research says that more men do it than women. It has to do with, it has to do with conflict with men tends to lead, or it can lead to physical altercations.
Women fight with gossip, innuendo, and reputation destruction,
Yeah.
and they exclude, right, the mean girl, right? But
Hmm.
men stonewall. Okay.
They stonewall to calm themselves down. Oftentimes they don't realize, at least in session, they don't, when we're talking about it, they don't realize that that's a bad technique. It's not helpful. They think that they are just calming themselves down, and they think that they're avoiding conflict and that it's a positive, coping skill, while the other person is just going crazy because there's no communication and they're feeling, what, rejected, lonely, they're feeling unheard, unseen, and what do we all want in us anyway? Like all of us in us are feeling child, the part of us that just wants to be loved and seen and accepted. And that's it, all of us. And so stonewalling just it hits on something primal, I think, in us when we experience it. Like, just talk to me, love me, hold me, see me. That's what we want. And stonewalling just it destroys trust.
As I may have entertained the idea of stonewalling before, maybe sometimes,
Hmm.
and I would say it's better than the alternative because you don't want to hear what I'm saying. I'm thinking. So bite my lip, shut up, get through this, and we'll deal with it after. But right now, if you really want to know what I'm thinking, you don't. So stonewalling kind of sometimes seems like it's like the best way. So maybe there's a middle ground, like I need to process this. I need to think about this. I need to sort it through. I'll get back to you. I don't have it right now because it's a whole lot of words and a whole lot of emotion. And all I'm hearing is the emotion. And so it's like I stonewall because I don't just want to go, it's you. That's what it is. You want to know what I'm thinking? You're the problem. Right. And I want to say that because I know better. So I
Right.
stonewall or I delay the conversation. I guess maybe saying something about it or
What's the antidote for stonewalling?
physiological self-soothing. So I got to calm myself, right?
Right.
And I guess the idea is that you're calming yourself so that you can engage in the conversation productively.
Before the conflict arises. right? So it's not during the conflict where you stonewall or you walk away. It's in a calm time where you say, you know what, I'm really working on not stonewalling you, or I'm working on not criticizing you. So I might need to step away for a little bit. Please don't follow me. And please give me space to learn these tools and skills because I feel a little bit, I feel a little bit embarrassed. I feel a little bit uneasy with it because I'm just learning this stuff. So having the conversation when there's a calm moment to say, please give me that space to go and self-soothe or go and calm my body, get back in my window of tolerance, right? Get back into my body and my breath so that I don't do something reckless and careless that's going to hurt our relationship and be able to walk away. If you can both agree to give each other that hour or that half hour, or whatever, 24 hours, whatever is needed, that can be really helpful. But it's always something not to be done in conflict. It's always something to be done, I think, before it, right? Like here are the things that we do. Here's our pattern, right? I'm defensive, you stonewall. I'm critical, you're contemptuous. And then like if we're both working on it, let's give ourselves space to be able to go and self-soothe and then come back to it back when we're inside of our window of tolerance. Because that's what we're trying to do is we're getting back from our fight or flight, getting back into our window of tolerance where we can handle the distress, we can handle the other person, and we can handle the conflict.
So you say you have to do that before, right? Because otherwise I'm just shutting her out.
It hasn't worked in my experience during conflict. If he's going to stonewall, then I'm going to call him names and something. It's going to
You
not
try to
start out.
drag him back into the conversation, right?
Right,
Yeah.
because I want to be seen. Like,
Right.
you're here with me. Let's fix this. And that might be again part of my personality and his personality. Like he wants to flee and I want to pursue. And so I'm like, let's just get this done. Let's just get this thing hammered out. And he's like, I can't do that right now. And he can't even think clearly. And really, either can I.
You want to get to the decision, right? It's not,
Yeah.
he's like, I need more information. We shouldn't decide yet. And you're like, I've got the decision and this is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, so all the relationship stuff starts to come to bear on the conflict. So if you can do the stuff before the conflict and in a quiet moment in couples counseling to say like, okay, this is what we're going to commit to. This is our action plan this week. When we start to feel emotionally elevated, when we start to feel reactive emotionally in any way, our heart starts to race, our palms start to sweat, you feel hot in your chest, whatever it is that makes you, when do you know when you're starting to get that way? Like, let's pay
I
attention
know
to
when
it.
she is.
hmm Yeah, me too. And I know when I'm doing it, so I'm aware of it. But if I go to that place, I need to be able to step away and calm down.
Okay. And the number one scary thing for relationship, the fourth horseman,
Mm,
contempt.
contempt.
That's
Yeah.
the scary one, right? That's the teenager who rolls their eyes and exhales every time a parent talks.
Yeah.
There they go again, right?
hmm
So, you know, so
hmm
there's absolutely nothing you can say. That's the problem with contempt is it doesn't matter what they say. You have contempt for whoever's saying it,
hmm
right? So there is
Yep.
no resolution when you get to that point. It's
Yep.
like, I don't care what you say. You can't say anything healing or otherwise to get me to change or to
Right.
listen to you.
Yep. Yep.
So then the antidote, what's the antidote for contempt?
Yeah. Owning the self, right?
Go back to taking responsibility for your part.
Absolutely. And it's so nefarious, right? That's all you have to do to make that other person feel dismissed. Because all of our feelings are in that little tiny feeling child, and it's just going to explode in anger when it's not heard. If you leave a little baby in a crib, it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop crying. It just gets louder and louder and louder until it gets its needs met. So if there's a little baby inside of all of us, which I think there is, I think there's a little tiny feeling child inside of all of us. And when it's not feeling accepted and loved, it's feeling dismissed and rejected, it's going to get really upset.
Right. You got to get louder, right? You're not hearing me. I should get louder.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah. The only way I can get away from that volume is to either stonewall or
mhm.
say, you know what? You're crying, but you got no needs. So you're just making a mountain out of a molehill. Whatever you say, it doesn't matter because you're just
Right.
overreacting.
And that leads us to indifference, which I don't think that hate is the opposite of love. I think indifference is the opposite of love.
So just leave them unread, right? Just not responding at all is worse than fighting words.
Yeah, because even that is engagement, and it's like, okay, there's still something here to fight for. We're still connected. We're still attached.
You must have a ball with those divorcing people because I don't think they're indifferent.
They're not, and they don't like it when I say that either. When I say, yeah, you're not really indifferent towards them, though, are you?
Yeah. I'm thinking you care some, right?
You're
It's like
right.
you couldn't
Yeah,
care
you gotta be
less.
careful about what word to use for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it is so helpful though to have that awareness of like you do still care, right? You care in that opposite way, but you still care. So let's get you to indifferent, or let's at least get you to adult. Let's at least get you to those parts of I will, I won't, I do, I don't, yes, no,
Hmm.
to be able to have the transaction that makes sense. And so that's a lot of the work. That's a lot of the work, right? Of taking responsibility. And then once you take responsibility, then you have your power to say, okay, I'm not going to go after this with my critical part. I'm not going to be contemptuous. I'm just going to go at this conversation as an adult.
I think if you're making these changes, it's almost like you got to have like, I mean, I don't want to get into the combat metaphor, but like you'd almost need like 5 minute rounds. Like, okay, I can go in, I can hang on to it for a little while, but then she
Yeah.
says that thing that she knows pissed me off, and she said it on purpose.
Yeah.
And I need the bell to ring and me to go back to my neutral corner, right? Get some water, put a towel on my head, right?
Yeah.
Use that whatever silver thing that stops the bruising around my
Oh, yeah.
eyes, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, because I don't know how you would hold on to it, right? Because if you care, you're going to care a lot, right? And
Hmm.
if you're not being heard and not being understood, and you feel like it's all criticism, defensiveness, stonewalling, or contempt, it's like, of course you're going to escalate, right? Because it matters. They matter. The relationship matters.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of times with my clients, they've made humans together.
Yeah,
So
right.
of course they have to be in each other's lives for the long haul because you can't just walk away unless you are willing to walk away from your kids. But most of my clients are fantastic in that they do want to be the best versions of themselves for their kids. And so they keep showing up and they keep doing the work, and it's hard work. And a lot of us didn't have those skills or tools given to us as kids or as young adults. And so here we are now trying to figure stuff out. And I like the metaphor. Like, why not have that like a marriage fighting bell, right? Ding ding. Go to your
Right.
corners. We need to go to
Right.
our corners and we need to get to that place. Man, I think I actually might get a bell and put it on the kitchen counter there. So it's just like ding ding, let's go.
Ding. Yeah. Air horn would work too.
Yeah,
But probably neighbors wouldn't like that one too much.
probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah, but having a corner to go to for a bit and having an agreed upon corner, because a lot of times we're so attached that we do follow the other, right? They walk off and then we
Oh,
follow
yeah.
them.
That's when you got to be the handball against the curtain or the Teflon, right? It's like,
Hmm.
look, you're not going to pull me back into this argument, right? Because I'm going to stonewall right now because I'm thinking of some things that I know if I say them, they are going to follow me out of your mouth for the next 5 years.
Yep.
So I'm not going to give you that ammo to hear what an ass I was in this argument,
Right.
which is what I'm thinking, if it's clear. But I can't say that, right?
Hmm.
So there are so many areas that I want to explore in detail, and I think that would really be helpful for the people who watch and listen.
Yeah.
So I want to look forward to other episodes where we talk about personality styles, ego states, communication skills, everything that has to do with relationships, and also with our own anxieties and how to
Hmm.
cope with this chaotic world that we all live in. Uh,
Yeah.
so I look forward to talking to you and talking to if you like the show, you want to subscribe. We're going to try to put out episodes regularly and give everybody skills and tools to actually use. So I hope that you got some and didn't just learn, that Courtney stonewalls.
And Janine does all the other things.
Yes, all the rest of them.
Yeah, I love that though. I was thinking about the communication skills as that's going to be its whole own thing because there's BIF and there's nonviolent communication and there's I feel statements and there's so many ways to communicate in healthier ways than, at least I grew up with.
Oh yeah.
Just, the you always and the you don't and the you should and all those things. So I think that because that can really help contempt, right? That's really connected closely to that, is learning a new way to talk.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Language is so powerful.
criticism and defensiveness, right? It's like, okay, well, apparently I'm the problem, so I'll just get out of your way because clearly you're not happy
Yeah.
with me. So you're not accepting. Oh, by the way, that thing that you never change someone else's thoughts or behavior, or the way to have a happy relationship is never believe you can change. That's just called acceptance. I just made a really long sentence out of one word, acceptance.
Acceptance. Absolutely. Yeah.
I accept that this is over.
Okay.